Hi guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you can tell by the title of today's video, I am talking all about my favourite eyeshadow palettes. So I have them here and I'm just going to put them down. We are on a different video setting just because there are a lot of palettes here and I thought it would make more sense so you can see the palettes and hopefully see the swatches a little bit better. So we are on a different camera angle. So I have 10 palettes that I'm going to talk about and share a little bit of information about. In terms of these eyeshadow palettes, these are all eyeshadow palettes that are either purple or mauvey tone eyeshadow palettes. They are my favourite kind of palettes because I have green eyes and I find that the purples and kind of pinky and berry colours really enhance my green eyes. I personally love having green eyes. Green eyes are actually my favourite colour eyes in general, so I really like to enhance them. You do not just have to have green eyes to wear these colours. I would recommend these palettes to everybody and to anybody because not only do I think the purples and the berry colours look good on my eyes, but purple is actually my favourite colour. So much so I had my hair purple for 10 years. And hopefully you guys will like some of these palettes and maybe they will inspire you to wear some purple or berry eyeshadow. So these are all from a range of different brands. Some of these palettes are more in your face purple and then some are more subtle but still have that purple hue. So again, there is a plethora here of different colours depending on what you want. So I am going to start by talking about the palette I'm actually wearing today on my eyes. I don't know how well you can see it with my glasses, but the eye look I've gone for today just looks like this, so kind of more of a berry look. I think it's quite nice. And for this I have used the W7 Let's Party with Vickaboo. I don't know who Vickaboo is, I just like the palette. So you've got those warm berry toned colours, really nice palette. That is the whole first row swatch there, and this whole row at the top is what I am wearing on my eyes today. In case you were curious, what I really like about this palette is I use each row as a whole standalone look. So I would use all these colours on the top row for one look, this for one look, this for one look. And what I like about doing it that way is it takes some of the thinking out of eyeshadow and it just pre-coordinates them almost. Don't get me wrong, I like to be experimental, but sometimes for every day I just want something that's already pre-orchestrated almost. You can buy this from makeup outlet stores and you can also buy this from W7's online website. I bought this from the makeup outlet store. Second palette we have is by Tarte, so a little bit more expensive. This is the Tartelette Tease palette. And this is a very small palette, and at first when I got this I didn't like how small it was because I was of the opinion it's a bit basic, but I actually love how basic it is. So this is what it looks like. Now it might not look too fancy, but what's really nice about this palette is if you have green eyes, and I'm going to talk about green eyes a lot because that's the colour of my eye, so I'm using that for reference. That's the first row swatch there. These colours are neutral, but they are neutral leaning purple, and then that's the second row there. So you would have a more daytime look and a more nighttime look. You can wear whatever you want in general. If you want to wear really dramatic makeup in the day, go for it. But what's nice is these are neutral colours, but then neutral leaning towards purple. So if you didn't want to do something as vibrant as a full purple eye and maybe you didn't want to do something that was berry toned, you could do something like this and you would still have a little bit of that purple hue. I think this makes an everyday eyeshadow palette if you're wanting something quick and something simple and something easy, because again you have two looks that are pre-coordinated. Especially if we don't want to spend a super long time on our makeup, having pre-coordinated eye looks is just so much easier. The third palette I have is by P.Louise, and I've got a couple of P.Louise palettes that I'm going to be showing you in today's video. And this is the P.Louise Team Bride palette. Looks like this. It is really cute packaging. It's in a cassette tape. All of P.Louise's packaging is absolutely adorable. Some people think it's very tacky and very extra. I love it. This is what it looks like. This is what the palette looks like. So again, we have a neutral palette, but we have a neutral palette that is leaning more towards pink, and I will swatch a couple of them. This one right here, swatched right there if you can see, and then we'll swatch the one next to it. So that one. So those two right there from the palette. So incredibly pigmented. And the shimmers within this are absolutely beautiful. I find the best way to apply shimmers, not just in this palette but in general, is with your finger and then just to dot it above the eyelid. Almost like a halo eye, I suppose. We have 3 more palettes that are more purple leaning neutral, and then the last 4 palettes I'm going to show you, I'm going to swatch on this arm, and they are a bit more intense and full on vibrant purples. So the next 2 palettes I'm going to show you together because one is a less expensive version of the first one, which is more expensive, but both are really similar, really comparable, and I am planning to do a whole video comparing them, talking about them. So I'm just going to show you them together. So we have the W7 Socialite palette. Looks like this. This has been very much well loved by me, so much so the mirror fell out and then I removed it and taped it all up, but we have that one. Then we have the Huda Beauty palette, the new Nudes one, looks like this. So that is both of them. I will swatch these 2 on the end of this palette, then I will swatch the very similar ones on the end here. So those 2 are the ones on the end in the Huda palette, and then these 2 right here are the ones that are in the W7 one. So these 2 here are the 2 that are right here. So you can see they are neutrals but leaning more towards berries. A video talking about both of these is going to be coming up at some point on my channel, so we'll talk about them there. And all 3 of these actually, the Teen Bride, the W7 Socialite and the Huda Beauty, are all what I would consider to be pink leaning neutrals. You don't need all 3. I would say just pick whichever one you like the most, or if you want all 3, feel free to get all 3. Then the last palette that I'm going to talk about that is more pinky purple neutral is again by P.Louise, and this is the Bridal Series Wedding Wish XL palette. I think I spoke about this on my channel. I think I have done an unboxing video on P.Louise where I got this palette in one of the boxes, but this is what it looks like. This is a bigger version of this palette. So they are both very similar. This would be great for everyday use if you wanted a range of colours that fall within that neutral leaning pink sort of colour family, and then this would be great if you wanted a pink neutral but something that's a bit more portable, a bit more compact. So this is both of them side by side, so you can see how they are really similar in terms of what they're bringing to the table with the colours. But this is what this one looks like. So a huge range of those pinky neutrals. That's what they look like, and then that is how they swatch on my arm. Those 2 right here. So we have that one, and that's the last palette that I would describe as being a neutral pinky purple leaning palette. Next 4 I have are over here. 4 of these palettes are undoubtedly purples and pinks and a bit more bright. I'm going to start with the 2 purple palettes that are P.Louise, and then I'll end with the Lime Crime palettes. So this is the first one. This is the P.Louise You Give Me Butterfly palette. Very pretty, very cute. And this is what this palette looks like. So you've got a really nice range of purples within that. You've got a more pinky purple, you have a more lilac, and then you have a more deep rich purple teamed up with a couple of shimmers there. You could use this whole palette for a whole eye look. What I like to do is I like to do an eye look, and then I will use a couple of colours within this on my lash line. That's a really great tip. If you don't want to do a full-on dramatic purple eye, you could maybe use a purple eyeshadow on your lash line or as an actual eyeshadow eyeliner colour if you wanted a pop of purple, if maybe you didn't want to do a full statement look. So that's what they look like, and then swatched, that is them right there. So definitely more on the pink side than the blue based purple. In terms of purple eyeshadows, I like purple in general, but I think purple that leans more pink than blue is what I prefer. We then have the P.Louise A World of Wonder palette, and this palette is like this palette's big sister. They're very similar. I actually got this palette first because it was a little bit less expensive than this one. I did a P.Louise budget box unboxing on my channel, and the palette that I got arrived broken. They gave me a voucher, a £20 voucher, and the £20 voucher went to buy this. This was on sale for £25, so I actually got this whole palette for £5, which is incredible. I wanted this palette when it was £45, but could not justify the cost. As we know, P.Louise's packaging is a work of art in and of itself. This palette does light up. I have not put batteries in it, so mine does not light up. This is what that palette looks like. A pure whole range of purples, which is fabulous. On the top section, they are more pink leaning purples. Then on the bottom section, we have some royal purples and a couple of purples, especially this one here, that I would argue is more of a periwinkle sort of colour. But if you like purples, you could just probably buy this palette and you would have enough for a purple look. But I love the shade variation. So I'll do the same thing. I will swatch a couple, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to swatch this one right here, the colour that I'm calling periwinkle, and then I'll swatch the one next to it. So I'll swatch these two. So that is them swatched right here. So yeah, definitely more of a bluey kind of purple, and then I would say a more neutral royal purple, but you can see how these would all be pinky purples, but these are definitely more pink based. The only drawback with P.Louise palettes is they are quite big and quite bulky, so they're not super travel friendly. So if I wanted to bring a purple eyeshadow with me somewhere, wouldn't probably bring this, but would realistically probably bring this because there is a massive size comparison there. Then the last two palettes are both by Lime Crime. I'm not sure if you can still get Lime Crime. You might be able to get it online, but I still want to talk about these anyway. This isn't a video with a commentary on the brand per se. You will all have your own opinions on the brand. I'm just doing this video to recommend some purple eyeshadow palettes that are cruelty free. So if you don't like a particular brand or you don't agree with them, completely fine. This video isn't to do a deep dive on brands. This is just me, who likes purple eyeshadow, talking to you about purple eyeshadow. So we have these two palettes, and they're very similar to the P.Louise one in that this one is a smaller, more condensed version of this one. This one I have featured on my channel already. I purchased this one from Superdrug when they were doing Lime Crime on clearance, and I can't remember what I got this for, but I got this for an insane price because they were discontinuing Lime Crime. So that's awesome. This is the Lime Crime Venus XL palette, and then this is the Venus 3 palette. I think you can still buy Lime Crime on Boots. This is what they look like. But we can see how some of the colours, especially the orangey colour in this palette, has influenced some of the colours in this palette. You know, this one right here I would say is really similar to that one right here, and actually this colour here is very similar to this one here. So there is a little bit of crossover with this palette. Both palettes are quite pigmented, and again, it just depends on what you prefer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swatch two colours out of this, then two colours out of the bigger palettes, just so you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swatch this purple, I'm going to swatch this one here. So that's what they look like next to the other purples here. They are swatched right there, so that is that lighter purple one, and then that really rich purple is swatched there. And in this palette, what we'll do is we'll swatch this one here, and we'll say this one. So we're going to swatch Passion, and we're going to swatch Triumphant. So that is what Passion and Triumphant look like, and then we will put them next to the Lime Crime 2 from the other palette, which are here. And that is what they look like. Just taking a step back, you can see we have a whole range of different eyeshadows swatched on my arms. Some more neutral purple, some more full on in your face purple. And these are all palettes that I use depending on what I want to do and how I'm feeling, but these are all palettes that I really like. These are all the eyeshadow palettes that I would recommend for green eyes, and if you are interested in purple and pinky toned eyeshadows, these are the palettes I would recommend. These are the palettes that I gravitate towards, and to be really honest and transparent, I don't use really any other palettes bar these palettes or my two Jaclyn Hill Morphe palettes. So I don't feel like I need to have any other palettes because these are the palettes I like, that I use, that I feel like work for me, hence why I'm recommending them to you. Lastly, one thing to mention also is, like with any eyeshadow palette and performance, think about how you're applying it. So think about things like your eyeshadow primer, also think about the tools that you're using to apply that eyeshadow with. So maybe that's a factor within your decision making when you pick a purple palette. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed me talking about purple eyeshadow palettes, and I will speak to you all in my next video. So until then, goodbye guys.